Astonishing new reporting today showing just how lax Trump's top national security advisors have been with classified information. Atlantic writer Jeffrey Goldberg, a group chat on the messaging app Signal. The chat included Vice President JD Vance, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth.
If you thought the political drama surrounding Donald Trump couldn't get more intense, think again. JD Vance, once a die-hard Trump ally, has reportedly pulled a full 180, stabbing his former benefactor in the back with some leaked texts that are shaking the GOP to its core.
That's right. The texts were exclusively obtained by Talking Points memo from the House Select Committee. They show communications between far-right activists, state politicians, and 34 congressional lawmakers.
And no, we're not talking about a minor slip-up. This is a full-blown betrayal, and it's got Trump fuming, Truth Social melting down, and JD Vance pretending it was all taken out of context. Spoiler, it wasn't. Stick with us because this political soap opera has gone full Shakespearean, and you don't want to miss the next plot twist. Let's set the stage. JD Vance, the author of Hillbilly Elegy and once a vocal critic of Donald Trump, suddenly became one of Trump's most vocal supporters in the 2020s. He transformed from a Trump-hating elitist to a full-blown MAGA disciple, wearing his red hat like a badge of honor. Trump, in turn, helped lift Vance from obscurity into political relevance. But now it seems that the loyalty that once seemed unbreakable has been shattered. The betrayal, Vance turns on Trump. In an unexpected twist, text messages between JD Vance and Mike Waltz have leaked, revealing that Vance wasn't exactly thrilled with the whole Trump circus. In fact, he was allegedly mocking Trump's legal woes.
Now, the White House has confirmed it inadvertently added a U.S. journalist to a private group chat discussing classified plans to bomb Yemen.
Rolling his eyes at the 2020 election drama and calling the entire MAGA movement a group project from hell. And if you thought that would be the end of it, oh no. These texts are causing a stir that could make even the most seasoned political veteran sweat bullets. Let's be clear. JD Vance was not just a casual MAGA supporter. He was a full-on Trump disciple, riding the Trump train all the way to political victory. But now the very man who made him politically relevant is facing the brutal sting of betrayal from one of his own. The leaked messages paint a picture of Vance not just distancing himself from Trump, but outright mocking him and his loyal base. If there was any question about how deep the GOP's divisions run, these texts are a smoking gun. At the heart of all this drama is the undeniable fact that Donald Trump has been played by one of his own creations. Trump, ever the optimist, thought he had found a loyal ally in Vance, who was all too happy to take the hand that fed him. But now, as the latest screenshots hit the internet, Trump's gullibility is on full display. The man who once called Trump a danger to democracy and wrote think pieces on why the man was unfit for office is now being exposed for pretending to be Trump's biggest fan. Just to play the game and make it to the top. It's almost poetic, really. In the same way that Trump elevated so many in his orbit, it's now clear that JD Vance was more than happy to play along, waiting for the right moment to show his true colors. The political equivalent of a MAGA tattoo, Vance's shift in allegiances isn't just about a change in opinion. It's about timing, ambition, and a very well-calculated move to distance himself from a man who has, in many ways, become more of a liability than an asset. This leaked text scandal is just another layer in the messy reality that is Trump's post-presidency life. From legal issues to constant media meltdowns, Trump has found himself constantly surrounded by chaos. And now it seems even those who once rallied behind him are starting to turn their backs.
Die-hard Trump supporters in Orlando. More than 24 hours before the rally, they were already camping out here.
JD Vance, once the golden child of Trump's political empire, is now just one more example of how Trump's grip on the GOP is slipping. The question is, will this be the breaking point? As for Vance, the damage is done. His attempt to downplay the situation isn't fooling anyone. The text messages are clear, and the betrayal is as obvious as a neon sign. Whether he intended for this to go public or not, the political implications are huge. It's not just about Vance's personal betrayal of Trump. It's a deeper reflection of the fractured state of the GOP. The cracks are showing, and the once solid unity of the MAGA movement is starting to crumble. What does this all mean for the future of Trumpism? Well, it's hard to say, but one thing is for certain, JD Vance's betrayal is only the latest example of how the GOP is slowly fracturing under the weight of Trump's polarizing influence. As the text leaks keep coming, and as the GOP begins to show signs of internal collapse, it's becoming increasingly clear that the party's future may be more uncertain than ever before. JD Vance, the political flip-flop that shook Trump's base. 1 minute, JD Vance is throwing daggers at Donald Trump, calling him everything but a political parasite. The next, he's groveling on Steve Bannon's podcast like it's a desperate job interview, hoping for that MAGA seal of approval. The political gymnastics here are something to behold. But here's the twist. Vance didn't just go from Trump critic to Trump sycophant. He did it with an intensity that raises eyebrows. Despite all the disses, criticisms, and disdain, Trump, ever the egomaniac, forgave it all. Why? Because in Trump's world, a little ego massage can erase years of insults. A few flattering tweets, a campaign stop, and voila. JD Vance was crowned Ohio's golden boy. According to rumors, Trump even considered him the heir to the MAGA throne. Because apparently nothing says solid judgment like handing your political legacy over to someone whose loyalty is as flimsy as true social server stability. But as we all know, the price of political bargains always comes due, and Vance's bill arrived in the form of some brutally two-faced text messages that would make even Game of Thrones betrayals look like misunderstandings over brunch reservations.
Unsecured group chat ahead of the attack. On the text chain, 18 people, including Vice President JD Vance, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, who accidentally invited journalist Jeffrey Goldberg to the chat.
These texts, which paint Trump's loyal base in a less than flattering light, came at a time when Trump was parading Vance around as his MAGA mini-me. The timing? Oh, it's exquisite. These messages were allegedly sent after Trump had floated the idea of making Vance his VP pick. Now let's talk about the aftermath. Vance, who once had his golden ticket to MAGAland punched with Trump's endorsement, is now in full damage control mode. And as you'd expect from a man who used to be a Trump critic, he's twisting himself into rhetorical pretzels to explain away the leaked texts without actually admitting they're real. It's the classic fake news defense, hoping the headlines will disappear faster than his political integrity. The fallout has been nothing short of delicious. Trump's allies are scrambling, unsure whether to defend Vance, destroy him, or pretend like they never knew him. Fox News, which once hailed him as the genius whisperer of the hillbilly vote, is now pretending he doesn't exist. Conservative Twitter is in full meltdown mode, with half of the crowd screaming traitor and the other half quietly whispering, well, he's not wrong. Vance's attempt to sidestep the truth has had mixed results. Some of his former supporters are now questioning everything they believed about him, while others are just enjoying the political chaos that's ensued. But one thing is certain, Vance's once promising relationship with Trump is now in tatters. He's gone from being the MAGA prince to just another political casualty in the age of Twitter scandals. JD Vance is certainly not the first Trump lackey to wake up to the harsh realities of the political game a little too late. We've seen this play before, where a once loyal Trump ally gets caught in a web of contradictions and backpedals their way out with a mix of deflections, apologies, and some good old-fashioned spinning. It's a pattern that's become all too familiar in the world of Trump's political orbit. But what makes Vance's case different is the sheer audacity of his flip-flop. He didn't just make a quiet transition, he went all in on Trump, wearing the MAGA gear and kissing the ring. And now, with these text messages out in the open, Vance is left trying to cover his tracks while Trump's former supporters turn on him. The irony is thick, and the drama is far from over. Here we go again. Another political betrayal, another twist in the circus that is Trump's world. This time, JD Vance, who once wore his MAGA hat like a badge of honor, has found himself caught in the crossfire of his own backstabbing drama. The latest scandal, involving leaked texts that paint Vance as a two-faced political opportunist, has MAGAland in a frenzy. But let's be honest, This isn't just about Vance. It's about how Trump's loyal circle is slowly turning into a house of cards, ready to collapse with every new betrayal. Vance was the golden child of Trump's 2000s political fantasy, the hand-picked heir to the MAGA throne. He even wrote a book about how much better he was than everyone else, a real I know better than you kind of guy. And yet, when the chance came to dive headfirst into the MAGA madness, he did so like it was the last lifeboat on a sinking ship. Now that that ship is taking on water, Vance's reputation is slowly deflating like a dinghy made of plausible deniability. It's almost Shakespearean in its tragedy. A blustering king, undone not by enemies or liberals, but by the very court jester he had elevated to the throne. The betrayal, Vance turns on his own king. But let's talk about the betrayal itself. Vance, the man who once climbed into Trump's political lap like a child vying for affection, has now joined the ranks of political Brutus. The leaked texts, full of insults and mockery about Trump and his MAGA base, are out in the open. And what's Trump doing about it? Well, not much. By Trump's standards, a few all-caps rants and vague threats about loyalty tests is all he can muster. This is the man who once demanded unwavering loyalty, only to be stabbed in the back by the very guy he handpicked. The irony is thick, and the betrayal couldn't be more fitting for a reality TV presidency that thrives on drama, chaos, and spectacle. Vance's flip-flop has turned into the ultimate case study of political opportunism. He used Trump as a stepping stone, climbed to the top, and now that the view's not so great, he's trying to pretend like he never wanted to be on that ride in the first place. And let's be clear, this isn't just about personal ambition. This is about the party's future, and it looks as unstable as ever. And while Vance tries to save face, MAGA world is left scrambling to spin this scandal into a positive. Some are calling it proof that Vance is independent-minded or strategically nuanced. Sure, nothing says political strength like trash-talking your boss behind his back while flashing your best fake smile in front of the cameras. It's a spin job that even the best PR teams would struggle to pull off. Meanwhile, Trump's allies are tripping over themselves. Some are still defending Vance, others are calling him a traitor, and a few are pretending he never existed in the first place. Fox News, once fawning over Vance as the hillbilly whisperer, has now relegated him to the political shadows. Conservative Twitter is in full meltdown mode, with the base torn between calling Vance a backstabber and quietly acknowledging that, hey, he might have had a point. To add to the chaos, sources say Trump is now considering alternative VP picks. Because nothing says stability like reshuffling your presidential ticket based on who insulted you the least this week. Names like Carrie Lake, Elise Stefanik, and even Tucker Carlson are being floated as potential running mates.
What is it about the culture at Tucker? Because listen, as someone who covers him and covers him as a force that threatened democracy until Friday night.
Yes, you read that right. Tucker Carlson, a man who regularly spreads Kremlin talking points on national TV, is now considered a more trustworthy VP candidate than JD Vance. The bar has not just been lowered, it's underground, sharing a room with Rudy Giuliani's last brain cell. And poor JD Vance? Well, he's still out there pretending like everything is normal. At this point, he's just one press conference away from claiming aliens forged the leaked texts. Trump's dilemma, betrayed by his own. But deep down, Trump is stewing. The man who built his political empire on loyalty is now facing the painful reality that the very puppet he created has turned on him. It's poetic, it's tragic, and it's absolutely peak reality TV presidency. This is the world Trump has built, one where loyalty is demanded. But once the heat's on, even his closest allies are ready to bail. The real question now is whether Trump can find a way to spin this disaster into his favor, or if this is the final crack in the facade of his MAGA empire. Let's break this down. JD Vance, once the golden boy of MAGA, has taken the political equivalent of a backflip, flipping from loyal Trump ally to one of his loudest critics, well, at least in private. And now Republicans are in a bind. Do they hold on to Vance, hoping the scandal fades faster than Trump's spray tan under studio lights? Or do they cast him aside and hope someone less radioactive floats by? Either way, the damage is already done. Trump looks weak, Vance looks two-faced, And the GOP? Well, it looks like a circus, only this time the elephants are running the show. Vance's betrayal is particularly juicy because, let's face it, Trump could have picked anyone. He could have chosen literally anyone to ride with him into the MAGA sunset. Instead, he went with Vance, the same guy who once said putting Trump in the White House would be a disaster and then pretended to walk it back, only to get caught saying the same thing in more colorful language. Talk about a political roller coaster. The lesson here? Don't base your political future on the loyalty of a man who changes his opinions faster than Elon Musk buys failing companies. As Vance's political integrity crumbles under the weight of his own text messages, the GOP finds itself in a perilous position. Do they double down on Vance, hoping the scandal will blow over? Or do they let him go, praying that someone with fewer skeletons in their closet will come to the rescue? Either way, this situation shows one undeniable truth. Trump's grip on the party is loosening. Vance, once a loyal Trump disciple, has proven that loyalty is fleeting in the world of politics. He's gone from the guy with a MAGA hat proudly perched on his head to the one throwing shade behind Trump's back. The GOP is now stuck in a bind, trying to figure out whether to defend Vance or toss him aside like a worn-out campaign slogan. What's especially rich here is that Trump has built his entire political persona on one key pillar: loyalty. But not loyalty to policy or competence. No, it's all about pure bootlicking, ego-driven loyalty. If you're on Trump's good side, you're golden. If not, well, you're out, and in some cases, you're out quickly. The man has a history of ditching allies like expired coupons. Jeff Sessions, Michael Cohen, Steve Bannon, the list goes on. So when JD Vance, the hand-picked heir to the MAGA throne, turns on Trump, it's almost poetic. Trump, the king of political loyalty tests, now finds himself on the receiving end of the same treatment. It's Shakespearean, really. Trump, the blustering king, undone not by enemies, not by liberals, but by his very own court jester turned Brutus. JD Vance's betrayal is a clear sign that the post-Trump era isn't coming. It's already here, and it's not pretty. This new GOP is trying to distance itself from the chaos of the Trump years while still wanting to keep his base. They want the votes, but none of the baggage. They want the rallies without the rioting, the excitement without the investigations. And Vance? Well, he just learned the hard way that you can't have it both ways. You can't court Trump's base without embracing the entire mess that comes with it. And of course, this isn't just about Vance. This is about the future of the GOP itself. The Republicans are facing a crossroads, with Trump's toxic brand threatening to drag them down with every betrayal, every scandal, every backstabber who cashes in on his loyalty only to ditch him when the going gets tough. The GOP's new motto seems to be, "We want the power, but not the fallout." Vance's backstabbing isn't some petty drama cooked up by political gossip blogs or Twitter doomscrolling. Oh no, this is a Category 5 political hurricane aimed directly at the house Trump built. The man who once demanded unwavering loyalty now finds himself in the middle of a storm with the very people he elevated throwing daggers at his back. It's a mess, and it's only getting messier. And speaking of storms, let's talk about the latest White House drama, Mike Waltz's firing as National Security Advisor. This comes right after the 100-day mark, which is already a bad look, especially when you factor in Signalgate, that little mess where Waltz accidentally added a journalist to a secure chat. And if you thought the Trump administration's revolving door of staffers couldn't get worse, think again. Waltz is out, and Marco Rubio is stepping in as the new interim leader. The question is, how long will Rubio last before he, too, finds himself on the wrong end of a Trump tweet? Trump and loyalty, a cult of ego. At the end of the day, Trump's brand of loyalty is what's really at play here. It's not about policy, not about ideology, it's about ego. It's about making sure every single person in his orbit worships at the altar of his image, no matter how many times they're discarded when they're no longer useful. Vance, once a loyal follower, is just the latest example of how loyalty in Trump's world is a one-way street, paved with broken promises and non-disclosure agreements. In a move that could make even the most seasoned political observers do a double-take, JD Vance, Trump's former golden boy and vice presidential pick, has just detonated a political bombshell. If Trump's world was once built on a foundation of loyalty and ego, JD Vance has just set fire to that very foundation with a flamethrower of betrayal. This isn't just a scandal, it's political heresy in MAGA land. A betrayal so shocking, it might as well have been delivered in a Starbucks cup with pronouns on it. For years, Trump has played emperor, surrounded by sycophants who wouldn't dare blink without Mar-a-Lago's approval. His White House was a reality show where loyalty was king, and anyone who dared to show independence was quickly shown the door. Jeff Sessions, John Bolton, Mike Pence, each of them excommunicated, banished for failing to adhere to the sacred loyalty tests. But JD Vance, he was supposed to be different. Handpicked, factory fresh, and MAGA certified. Until he opened his mouth in private. This leaked text scandal isn't just humiliating, it's historic. Imagine Trump's once prized VP pick openly mocking him in group chats. And not just mocking him, mocking the very man whose name is tattooed across the Republican base's frontal lobe. It's a betrayal of such magnitude that it feels like a full-scale political mutiny. And of course, it wasn't just about personal grievances. It was about undermining Trump's military actions, blocking plans in Yemen, and secretly trashing the guy who handed him political relevance. The leak, which has exposed all the dirty laundry of Trump's inner circle, is like watching the GOP's dirty secrets spill out like confetti from a piñata. And what's worse, Vance, the same guy who once wrote about Trump's disastrous influence on democracy, is now acting like the world's most polished political opportunist. The timing? Perfect. He's been parading as Trump's loyal sidekick, wearing the MAGA hat, kissing the ring, and promising unwavering loyalty, only to stab Trump in the back with a bunch of passive-aggressive texts when the cameras are off. The identity crisis of the GOP, wanting the votes without the baggage. Let's face it, the GOP is in a full-blown identity crisis. These politicians want the MAGA base. They want the fundraising machine, the rage clicks, but they also want to keep their distance from the toxic baggage that comes with Trump's name. They want the votes without the riots, the rallies without the investigations, but they can't have it both ways. And JD Vance? Well, he just learned the hard way that trying to ride Trump's coattails while secretly rolling your eyes behind his back doesn't exactly guarantee long-term political survival. What this leak shows us is the evolution of a new GOP species, the post-Trump survivalists. Politicians who smile in public, kiss the ring, and then privately mock the circus. The GOP isn't just trying to survive Trump. It's trying to move beyond him while still holding on to the base he created. It's like watching someone adopt a lion, dress it in a MAGA hat, and then act shocked when it mauls them on the campaign trail. Here's the real kicker. Trump hired a guy who openly loathed him. That's like hiring a pyromaniac as your fire marshal and being shocked when the house burns down. Trump, a man who built his brand on demanding loyalty, thought he could blend his signature style of unquestioning allegiance with Ivy League polish. JD Vance gave him both, at least until those Ivy League thumbs let loose in that group chat, torching the entire operation. Now the GOP is left with a VP pick under fire, a fractured party, and Trump sitting in his golden fortress, wondering how he got played so badly. Now the question is, what will Trump do? Will he drop JD Vance like a tray of cold McNuggets? Because let's face it, if there's one thing Trump loves more than loyalty, it's public revenge. Vance just handed him the perfect excuse to distance himself from the betrayal. Will Trump fire back with a tweet, or will he craft the ultimate Truth Social emoji breakup post, cryptically saying, "Some people just don't know how to win"? As the GOP grapples with this betrayal, one thing is clear. The party is starting to eat itself alive. This isn't just one broken VP bromance. This is the early warning siren for a GOP implosion. The post-Trump era isn't coming, it's already here, and the political landscape is shifting faster than anyone expected. So as the fallout from this text message leak continues, keep your eyes peeled. The GOP may be in the midst of a civil war, and JD Vance might have just lit the fuse.